I was born with a toy car in my hand. I've been a car guy since I was a little kid. I had this toy called the Blue Bus, which it turned out later, I think I still have it somewhere, was a die-cast 35 Auburn sedan. And I took that car with me wherever I went. They could never pry it away from me. It was just something I always had. And so, you know, I've always been a car guy.
First of all, just like what we're doing and you're trying to do at Conner Prairie, is the sharing. You know, I've always enjoyed that. Certainly when I bought the Stutz factory and we have a place to put the cars, it is astounding, and you all are going to find out as the years roll by how people enjoy these cars. And you know, collectors, you know, whether it's art or cars or airplanes, love it. But to share that with others is really special. And then the second part is the driving, as I've alluded to. I love driving them. Driving this Bearcat is absolute treat.
I had this at the Haynes-Apperson Festival a couple weeks ago, and seeing little kids walk up to it and just looking at it, and then walking up to them and say, you want to get up in there and sit, and the shock on their face, can I really do that? It's fun to see them get behind that wheel and how big it is.
I became interested in collecting vintage cars when I was a kid. The songs of the time. I was born in '45, so I was hearing songs in the '50s. And I got a hot rod Ford at a $2 bill, remember Hank Sr.? And then there was the hot rod Lincoln, and it went on, and back then everybody had a rod. And so I was infected before I was even a teenager. Didn't have any money, but that comes later. And so you collect cars and then vintage cars, and once it's in your system, there's no turning back.
I got my son-in-law and my son, who I hope will remain active in this, and I've stressed to them that, hey, I'm not going to be around forever, but you're going to have to take these cars, and you're not going to shove these cars in garages and do that. You're going to have to spend the money and you have the upkeep and that type of thing, because these people that work on these cars are getting fewer and fewer and fewer. And when you have somebody, you better remember where you got them and keep them and treat them the way they want to be treated.
When you show a car, someone sees it, maybe it's a 31 or 32 or maybe it's a 39, it brings back memories to them because they remember that. I'm talking about the older people. And I think that's what it's all about.
The automobile industry in this country has such a rich history, and I just love to help preserve that history and pass on to future generations the ingenuity, examples of the ingenuity and the creativity of the entrepreneurs that went before us.
Automobiles always seem to attract younger people, and if they get an interest in automobiles when they're young and continue to follow it, it'll help preserve that. It's a main part of our country. It's a main part of our economy now. It's a main part of the world's economy. People don't realize that this quest for petroleum all over the globe stems from the automotive end of the business. I mean, all this gasoline, fuels being consumed by all the automobiles of the world really enter into the economics, and so it's just part of history.
The preservation of these cars, we're just caretakers. We're just, you know, they're just passing through time with us, and until the next person acquires them or till it goes to a museum somewhere, and we want to keep them pristine and so everybody can continue to enjoy these cars, because they're not making them anymore. They don't make these cars. I mean, they're rarities relative to what's still out there, and anyway, we're caretakers, as just passing through. As I say, I'm going down the highway of life, and I go a little faster than other people maybe at some times, but we're all going down the highway of life, and so we want to ensure that these cars are still there in a preservation state for future generations to see.
The automobile is the single most important invention of all time, period, end of story. It's the most pivotal invention of all time. It changed everything. made people mobile. It just changed society in so many ways. It's like a living being. I mean, it has systems, it lives, it breathes, it moves. It's not an inanimate object, it's an animate machine. And so that's why I collect cars. I think the automobile is the single most important invention of all time, and it's our job to preserve that for other future generations to see.